Okay, position statement number 4. How can we strengthen children's relationships with the community and or the natural world? I think, of course, bringing the natural world into the classroom and bringing children out to the natural world is extremely valuable and can be a lot easier than we imagine. I think it can be a super simple thing. Um, and I think that recognizing that even the space around a school um, can be a place where nature can be found and experienced. I also think it'll be valuable to ask children their opinions of how to do this. What do we want others to know about the rights children have to participate in community and or children's right to be in nature? I'd like them to know it's a non-negotiable. Next question I answered in urban settings, I think educators, well, and rural, but I think urban is a little bit easier with field trips. But I think educators can get caught up in thinking that an experience in nature has to be grand, and they can hopefully realize that it can be simple and found immediately again when you step outside of the classroom, or sorry, the school building. I'm aware of many teachers who want to give children the opportunities with field trips to support their learning and understanding of the greater world that they don't typically get. And while this is beautiful, I don't believe it's actually necessary. Um, Giving children the opportunity to stare at the sky can be just as eye opening as going to the museum, in my mind. What are the benefits for children and for society of increasing children's participation in the community and or in nature? At my kids' old school, we realized trash was going to continue being a problem unless we got the kids involved. Once we did, there was more ownership on their part to take care of their school space. With each classroom pitching in to clean the playground areas and fields, all ages were involved in witnessing how they could be a part of caring for the earth. I would like to hope that this turned into less littering outside of school as well. Hopefully, they pointed out to their adults that they too should be a part of planet care. How can we increase learning opportunities for children and adults when we expand learning to consider the community and our nature? School gardening, I think, is a huge way that all can be involved and have ownership over a space specifically at school, and one that can really support the community in growing their own food. What is the role of the teacher in recognizing and supporting children's participation in the community and or in nature? Giving voice to how children should be recognized as valuable members of the community can come in verbal acknowledgement, of course, but also in action. In Denver, there's a group called Sidewalk Poets that has placed poems in art form. They're big metal sheets that have poems, however you do metal work, etched into them. And they're all around the east part of the city now, along Colfax and that neighborhood, East Colfax, where I used to live. And with a lot of Sidewalk Poets work being done in the public schools, some of the poems are authored by the children, and I believe having children see their work in the community in this way is a powerful form of advocacy for children to know their place in the local community, that it's valued. We also saw this in Edgar's experience in the video. Sorry, Erin, this is going to be longer than 5 minutes. I just thought that was so incredible to see him as an adult now experiencing this opportunity in the work of growing up Boulder that he did in 5th grade, and how yeah, it was just such a strong point for him that it really like kind of was a baseline trajectory of the community work that he's still involved in, and how incredible that is. What is my personal position on community and or in nature? Um, well, that children should be involved. I'm going to tie this in a little bit with the work of city councils and making local politics and issues just as much a child's politician or issue. My son went to speak to the Denver City Council a few years back about the dangers of plastic bags. This is when they were voting on the fee for utilizing plastic bags in stores. Making local politicians and community issues accessible to children is valuable. I think having their voice heard is incredible. For all involved, it's good for adults to, Edgar mentioned this in the video too, that his younger sister has a different point of view than he does as an adult. And I think it's really valuable for us to hear all age groups in the community. Showing children they have a place in the community will hopefully in turn support their advocacy for their community later on as adults as well. Again, we saw this with Edgar's experience. And I'm going to quote a statement in the article. Oh my gosh, I didn't write it down. No, I did. Engaging City Hall, Children as Citizens in the New Educator. And I just can't believe you had this article, Erin. I didn't know anything about this because I was living in Colorado at the time, but I'm from Rhode Island. Pretty much grew up in Providence as my mom worked at Brown, and it was just so awesome to hear about the work they were doing. So, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, 1989, was considered a groundbreaking document because, along with identifying children's human rights to protection from violence, neglect, and exploitation, and provision of care and an adequate standard of living, it is also suggested that children have civil rights to participate, to express their views, to be listened to, and to join a range of cultural, civic, and other activities. Hall and Rudkin, 2011. Thank you, Erin. I really appreciated this course, and I just can't wait to keep doing the work. Thanks.